Hey everyone, welcome to this week's angel reading. I'm Rachel Scoltock and I'm really excited to be back with you. I've had a whole week off. I did do last week's Monday reading, but I have been away for a week. As if you follow me on Instagram, you'll know where. Hey Jenna, hey Kathy, I hope you're feeling better after everything. So here I am, ready to do this week's angel reading with you. I've got 3 decks of cards out, and I'm also got something to work through with you, which is a question that somebody asked me on Instagram this week. Hey Pete, hey Rena. So on Instagram this week, a beautiful lady messaged me, and she said that she'd had this situation in her life where it seemed like everything was meant to be. All the signs were there. There seemed to be guidance. She seemed to be being led towards something wonderful. She didn't specify what it was. And that 2 years later, everything had fallen apart. And she wanted to know why this kind of thing happens and how to discern the difference between your imagination and an actual real sign or a real guidance. Jenna's in Hamilton Island. Hi, Carmen. Hey, Pete. So I wanted to talk to you about that because I've certainly had that kind of thing happen to me in the past. Have you? Where you feel like you're doing the right thing, you're following what seems to be synchronicity, there seems to be lots of really positive signs, but the outcome doesn't always turn out exactly how you expected it to be, and even may turn out that it's a bit of a disaster or a drama. So this lady wanted to ask why that happens and how to discern the difference between real guidance. And I guess that question, if we really pull it apart, and we all want to know the answer to that, but that question really comes from a place of feeling bad, if you like, because you haven't avoided pain. And so I just wanted to say before I start that it's really difficult to try and live a life where you have no ups and downs, where you only have ups, or where you only maintain the status quo and stay peaceful all the time. I don't think that's why we're here. At the same time, yes, we are meant to be evolving, growing and learning so that we can live and learn from our mistakes, and from being able to, live through things gives us some of the valuable soul growth and life lessons that we have to go through. And we learn things like compassion for ourselves and others. We learn about forgiveness. We learn about seeing other people's perspectives. There's lots of spiritual lessons, faith, letting go, surrender, where we're coming from a higher perspective than just wanting everything to be perfect in our lives. If we come from that perspective where we just want to whitewash everything and make it perfect, on every level, that's natural, but also we're kind of missing the point, I think. So that's one of the things that I would say, is that sometimes things do go wrong, and that gives us a valuable opportunity to go deeper, to learn something, to learn about other people and how they see things, and how not to take things personally or to feel guilty or feel bad about ourselves, and to learn how to become better humans as well. So hi, Yana. Hi, Boldev. I hope I've said that right. Tracy. Carmen, thanks Tracy, that's always lovely of you to say. If you could see how tired I was without this ring light, you might not say that. And hi Cheryl. So we're talking about why all the signs of guidance can lead you to a situation that could then not be what it first appeared to be, or it could fall apart or become a drama or something difficult. So the second thing I want to talk about with this is that the law of attraction versus divine guidance. So I'm an angel medium. I've been working with angels for 20 years now in my own personal life, and 15, 16 years professionally. And I've learned a lot about guidance, and I've learned a lot about how the angels' guidance comes directly from heaven, or the divine source, whatever you want to call that energy, God, the universe. It comes from divine intelligence, and it's directly related to your soul. So your soul is your spiritual self. It is the part of you that exists after you pass away. And when, you know, it's eternal. And so your soul will be born again into another physical body eventually. But in this lifetime, you are who you are for a reason. I don't believe that our personality fully changes every lifetime. I think that we pretty much stay the same in some ways, but we have different challenges, different ways of being. Maybe we're male or female, or we have different kinds of adventures. So your soul is connected to the divine spirit, and there's certain things that you are here to do in this lifetime. Some of them are spiritual lessons that I touched on before. Other things, you know, it's so that your soul can grow and gain knowledge. And other things might be like a life mission, like becoming a healer or an activist or a musician or an artist, something that affects other people. And maybe there is certain things that you've agreed to do to help others. Maybe it's to help the planet, maybe it's to help animals, who knows? But everybody's got a little bit of a mission. And you've also got your soul personal purpose, like the things that you're here to learn. And sometimes that involves the people that you learn with. You know, those people that come into your life that in the Robbie Williams song, where he says, find other hearts like yours, where you just feel an instant connection and this divine energy, where you just feel like you know each other, and you don't necessarily have to agree. Opinions are opinions, but you've just got that sense of connection with that other person. And those people can come into your life and last forever. They can come into your life for a short time and leave to teach you a lesson, or they can just be someone who you really don't get on with, and you know, you get meaning, you learn something massive out of maybe the difficulties that you had with that person. So, you know, they say a reason, a season, or a lifetime. There's always a reason, and maybe those people are part of your soul pod, I call them. Your soul pod sometimes are there as your support system to help you through your life. And they're not necessarily your family. Sometimes they're animals. Bear was one of my soul pod, my soulmate. So we've got the divine guidance comes from the angels, comes from God, and this is all to do with guiding you in the direction of answering your prayers and your soul's contract this lifetime. And then you have law of attraction, which it's not discerning. Law of attraction is to do with the energy that you put out into the world comes back to you like an echo or a reflection. So sometimes when you're really praying hard for something, let's just use the example of a partner, a life partner, because it's one that typically can trip people up. Is that when you really want your soulmate, you start putting out to that for that life partner, and you're asking, you're saying your mantras, you're visualizing, and then you meet someone. Now that may not be your soulmate life partner, the person that you're meant to be with this lifetime. It may be on a soul level someone who's come to bring you a life lesson, who is meant to be in your life for you to learn something, not necessarily stay with you forever. And that can be when you have karmic soulmate relationships. They're the big, deep, difficult ones, the ones that really challenge you. And so in the beginning, it can seem like that relationship is like meant to be. It just feels so right. It looks right. Everything about it seems right. But then the cracks start to appear down the track. And they're not just normal cracks. They'll be like huge, big life lessons that you have to learn through being with and maybe even breaking up with that person. And sometimes I don't think we're meant to know absolutely everything. You know, our human brain can be like a 3-year-old sometimes. Why do we have to do this? But sometimes we're learning something without even knowing that we're learning it. Maybe we're even teaching the other person something without realizing, or even them consciously realizing that they're going to have gained that knowledge. Maybe they won't actually receive the knowledge, the realization of it until their deathbed or in 20 years time, but you've been an important part of their journey. They're an important part of your journey. So when the lady on Instagram was asking him about this thing, perhaps something came into her life to teach her something, and it fell apart because it wasn't meant to stay there forever. It was just something that was an important soul lesson for her to learn this lifetime. And to complete that lesson, she needs to have acceptance, compassion, self-compassion, and forgiveness. The other way that the law of attraction works is one of my favorite mantras or quotes is, when you're waiting for your ship to come in, don't jump on a canoe. Now that's one by Florence Scovel Shinn, and it's hilarious, but it's also really, really super true that when we're praying for something, say it's a soulmate or relationship or that ideal job or that ideal candidate for the job. Hey, Benny, when you're putting out for that and then something appears in front of you and it looks good, it smells good, but you find out down the track it's not right, because it actually was through the law of attraction. It wasn't divinely guided. It wasn't necessarily a sign from heaven. It was an echo of your energy. Remember, we live in an energy-based universe. So what we put out sends the energy back to us. And sometimes those canoes, while we're waiting for a ship, we'll get a few canoes, because that's just a sign that our energy is starting to radiate and attract the energy that we've been asking for. So, you know, I've had lots of people ask me over the years, but I can remember one particular reading where a lady came to see me and she was stressed out. And she said, I've been asking for my soulmate. It was in my New Year's resolutions, and this guy's been asking me out, but I know that he's a drug user. I don't like how he looks. I'm just not attracted to him, but do you think he's my soulmate? And I was like, no, he's not your soulmate. If you're not attracted and you're not feeling a connection with that person, and he does things, you know, whether it's drugs or, you know, maybe he likes fast cars and you don't, that can be fine in a relationship. But if he does things that you definitely don't like, and you know that person's not right for you, you don't go out with them just because they've shown up when you've been asking for a soulmate. So we have to recognize the difference between the law of attraction, which starts to radiate our energy and starts to attract things like moths to a flame. It's the energy that we're drawing things towards us. And some of those things aren't going to be specifically what we want. So how do we tell the difference? Is that we use our intuition. And that is one of our life lessons. This is what our soul has come to teach us. This is one of the reasons why we're here at this time, is that we need to learn to follow our own intuition and not always be projecting outwards and thinking that the universe has got to give us all the answers in the form of signs. You know, we're a bit sort of like put the penny in the slot and expect a present. Sometimes that we've got to use our intelligence and our gut feelings, and we've got to ask questions, and we've got to do a bit of research, and maybe we've got to go on a few dates or hire the person for a trial run or go on a probation for that job. And then you've got to 100% trust your gut and trust your heart and trust your thoughts. And if it's a no, it doesn't matter if all the signs are, you know, green and go, 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 and the flags are waving. If it doesn't feel right, it probably isn't. And that's where you've got to learn to sharpen, hone, and trust your own intuition. So I know that many people get very angry when something goes wrong, because they go, well, you know, thanks God or universe, or I'm not going to have faith. That's the worst one. I'm not going to have faith in my angels anymore because they led me astray. They're never leading you astray, because you have free will. And free will means that you get to choose. You get to choose. So, I mean, I can name several incidents in my own life where I've gone, I really think this person's right for me, and then gone, doesn't matter. I won't listen to that for now. I'm sure they're right for me. And then learn, you know, got burnt. So, but I can never, ever, ever say that I haven't learned anything. And if I don't learn, then I'm going to keep getting that lesson over and over again, aren't I? And the same goes for you. We must never look at our past missteps as being something we have to hold on to guilt for. We have to blame ourselves or blame the angels or blame anyone else. We have to take responsibility, but we also have to look for the lesson and the blessing at the core of that situation. And sometimes it may not be immediately obvious. If you've done the forgiveness and you've released it, let it go, and you're not holding on to it, it may not be obvious. It may become obvious later. Maybe when you do meet that right person, or when you do get that ideal job, you'll see that what you learned with that situation that seemed like a mistake was actually invaluable knowledge for you to really do a much better version of whatever it is that you are looking for, relationship or job or whatever it is, business. So we have to remember, between law of attraction is just your energy echoes. And sometimes it's perfect. You'll just attract that perfect thing. But if you read too much into that and say, oh, it's a sign and that must mean I have to do this, then you're mistaken, and you need to maybe ask for more signs, maybe ask for guidance, tune in, go into your intuition. But also, if it feels right and you go for it and it still turns out to be not exactly what you thought it should be, then I always say, you know, sometimes we're learning about be careful what you wish for. Sometimes we're learning that not everything is perfect, and, you know, the fairy tale thing isn't real. Like, we have to, there's always going to be bumpy times, and things maybe don't work out exactly how we want them. We learn a new skill. But also, you know, if we externalize everything, we will override all of those signs because we really, really want what we want. And then we go, oh, that wasn't really what I want. So that's, I think, one of the things. You know, not everything is always a happy ending, and that's okay, because then we start to learn something different. You know, I think there's no other better, harder lesson than when we lose a loved one. Like, losing a loved one, especially when people have lost children, or children are sick, or, you know, people go before their time, we feel it's their time. That feels like we've been ripped off, or, you know, something's wrong somewhere, or God's not on our side, and how can this be happening? But we have to remember that there's always a bigger, higher plan, and that bigger, higher plan we're not always savvy of. We don't have full access to that, and then we have to trust and forgive, and, you know, grieve and go through the things that we have to go through in order to bring peace to ourselves. Because ultimately, if you had everything, all your wishes granted today, and, you know, the ideal relationship, the ideal working situation, big bags of money, I don't know, all the things that people usually ask for, you know, none of that would mean a dot to you if you didn't have inner peace, if you didn't have a sense of appreciation or a sense of yourself, self-awareness, your soul. None of that would matter. You know, I can't count how many times people have come back from Fiji, which is a poor place, you know, ultimately, and said, I can't believe how happy everyone is over there. They don't have all the stuff that we have. Well, there's a lesson there, isn't there? Because it's about what's here, what's inside, what we're thinking about, what we're putting into our minds and what we're putting into our bodies, and how we feel about it all, rather than the actual external things that matter. And I think that's one of the bigger. All of those things are lovely. They make it all lovely, you know. Doing stuff that we love is important. So we also have to look at what our ego does too when we're looking at guidance. So ego will always try to rush you through things, and will always try to do a quick fix. And it might be random. It'll be all different random things. Whereas your higher self, your angels, your soul, God, it will always be more of a peaceful ride. It will feel good. It will be peaceful all the time. I'm just seeing who's here. Mirella, hi Narelle, hi Anita and Emily, Pooja, Suresh, and Rebecca. Hi, sorry if I've missed anyone. So let's get on and do the reading. I hope that's all been clear. You know, it's really about you. Yes, you've got to have faith and trust the signs, but you've also got to come back to you and trust what you're thinking and feeling. And then if down the track what you thought was your forever and ever amen isn't, then it's not necessarily because you weren't meant to be there. And it might not necessarily mean that down the track, if you put the work in, you know, I prayed and prayed and prayed for a busy business, and I wanted this business to be successful, and I wanted to write books, and I wanted to do all the things that I'm doing. But the angels could only bring me so far. I had to do the work, and I'm still doing the work. And I'm sure it's the same with a relationship. Like, you don't just go, hurrah, he or she is. Oh, I can relax now. You've still got to work at it. It's, you know, it's always work. And so I think the angels can only help us so far, and they definitely help you when you're at a low. They will bring you into alignment with things, guide you to people, things will show up. And it's about then trusting your gut as you move forward and saying thank you. So I hope that's been helpful. So, and I'm really grateful to the lady, I think her name's Priscilla, who asked for it. I hope she gets to see this. So I'm going to pull you some cards for the week ahead. I'm just back from Tamworth Country Music Festival, where I had an absolute ball. It was healing for me, and just wonderful to get out and dress up and go to shows. Music is my favorite thing in the world, I think. So I'm going to pull you some cards from each of these decks. I've got the Archangel Oracle, I've got Archangel Michael, and I thought I'd get out the Saints and Angels today as well. So let's pull one from each. How long have I been chatting for? So how is everybody? And if you've got any questions about guidance and signs and how to tell the difference between your own guidance and your ego's guidance or your imagination, then please just put it up on the messages. Hi, Diane. Okay. So we're asking about your week ahead and what it is that you most need to know. I've invoked the angels, including Archangel Michael. I'm just going to, as usual, I've dropped cards. So I'm going to go down and get that card up. Okay. Right. So what have we got? So the first card that came out from the Saints and Angels deck is this one, St. Agnes of Rome. Look at the beautiful scenery. And with this card, the message is don't compromise, which means don't, which is kind of ideal. Sorry, I get back into the light, which is kind of ideal for what we're talking about, because if you compromise on your dreams by going, okay, here's something here that seems like a synchronicity, a sign of guidance, I'm going to go for that, but it's not actually what you really, really want, then that's going to affect you down the track. You're going to realize at some stage that you've compromised and it's not really what you wanted. So this is the angel's way of saying to you, what is it that you really want? Make sure that you're super clear about that, and what you won't compromise on. You know, if you really need things to be a certain way, like that, you might have boundaries up. So I've got boundaries around smoking. I don't want to hang out with cigarette smoke, and I don't have anything against people who do that, but I don't want to have that in my environment, and I certainly wouldn't date anyone that smoked or did other kinds of smoking. So that's on my boundary list. Like, I'm not going to compromise on that, and that's fine. And you could say, oh, what if your soulmate smokes? Well, they won't, and that's it. They just won't. Or if they do, they give up. So don't compromise. But I also feel with this this card is that this is a woman. The figure is making a decision. She's having a good contemplation. So you really want to think about what it is that you really want. The decisions that you're making right now are going to have an influence on your life. But the thing is, if you sit still and do nothing in procrastination, then nothing will change. And so there is a change needed in your life right now. And so it's important that you do something. So make it as close to what it is that you want as you can, and just take a step, because we can't see around corners. And the angels know that sometimes we keep ourselves stuck because we want to know what the outcome will be. And as I said right at the beginning of this recording, is we can't manage life that way. If we try to control everything, if we try to say, I'm never going to make a mistake, I'm never going to have a problem, I'm never going to, you know, next situation I do is going to be perfect, then we won't grow and we won't change. There's always something that you will learn from. The two cards that fell out actually complement that. You've got pause, which is saying don't rush in. Exactly what we said about guidance, like don't rush in. Nothing needs to be decided today. If you feel pressured, you know, that's a common trick of kind of, you know, sales, is to pressure people with time, because you know, they're much likely to buy if they feel pressured. So pause before you go ahead, and it's okay to tell people I need a bit more time. And here is move. So it's letting you know that even though you can take your time in deciding, it's important that you actually do take a leap of faith, that you do move. And for those of you thinking about moving home, this is a sign. If there's those of you thinking about changing something, or even moving your body more in order to help your health, this card often comes up for those kind of things. But you're being lifted to a higher level in your life, and it's really important that you don't go back into old habits, old self-sabotage. You know how sometimes before we get to a situation that could be absolutely wonderful, sometimes the old fear will come in and try and sabotage you. Then we had 2 cards from the Archangel Oracle deck, and the first one is the Counseling card. Now there's many of you watching who are natural counselors. You're the sort of person that people tell their problems to. That means you've got a massive light around you. You may not be able to see it, but other people can sense it, and they're drawn to you. This can be a sign for you to go and do something about that. If it feels right in your heart, to do some training to help you, not only to help you to formalize your abilities, but also to help you protect your energy so that you don't always become, you know, a source of light for everyone else and not for yourself. So if you're not that kind of person, there's also a chance that you need some counseling at this time, or you just need to, the angels are showing me speak, that you just need to speak. Sometimes when I'm stuck with a problem, I speak it out loud, because whether there's anyone here or not, because when you speak, you often work through things, whether it's to a friend, a counselor, a therapist, or just to yourself and your angels, you can work through things. So you'll notice in this card, you've got this, the Archangel Azrael is behind this woman. Now, Azrael is the angel who helps our loved ones to cross over, but is also the angel who helps us and comforts us when we're in grief. And you can call on Azrael to help you or anyone else that you know is grieving, and to help, you know, that sort of heaviness that can happen around your heart, your throat, is to help relieve you of that and to lift that energy off from you. The other card is about children, but it could be you. This card is Archangel Metatron, and it's about the indigo and crystal children. Now, of course, you know, when these cards were made 20 years ago, the indigo generation were younger, but now they're adults. And indigo children are very sensitive. They can act out on their, if they suppress their feelings, they can become angry or over too much ADD kind of feeling. They can overeat, they can become addicted to stuff. And so it's really important as indigos that you do exactly what the angels said. I'm feeling a lot of heat come over me right now. The angels are really pushing this message, that as an indigo, a super sensitive, creative person who is very passionate about the world, about changing the world. So sometimes indigos can get really depressed because they see the outside world and they feel powerless and that they can't change it. But the angels can help you if you're one of those people to find your power and to recognize that every little light in this world helps, and to find your mission as well. But as an indigo, it's really, or a sensitive individual, it's really important that you speak, because that's the way that your internal energy comes out. And when you speak about your feelings, write about your feelings, talk to the angels about your feelings, that energy then can be released, and then it doesn't become toxic and self-destructive. So I think that's a message for all of us this week, because we also help the younger ones coming up when we express ourselves. You know, if we don't express ourselves, we're teaching everyone, you know, that's those same toxic behaviors, that you're not allowed to show your emotions, that you can't be honest about how you feel. You know, there's ways of being honest without being brutal or mean. And it's okay to have your feelings. So the indigos are really needing a lot of help and support at this moment. And so call on these 2 angels, Metatron, Michael, and Azrael, 3 angels. And our final card is make a commitment. So this is usually the outcome card, and the other cards are more guidance. And this is Archangel Michael. So you see right at the beginning, we're making decisions, we're pondering, we're trying to decide what to do. We're looking after our energy, speaking our truth, really getting clear about what we want, and speaking about things that we like and we don't like to trusted friends and angels, clearing our energy, and then we get a chance to make a commitment to the next step. So whether that is moving house or a relationship or a job or a new financial channel, whatever it may be for you, your health, you will be committed in, and you're going to attract a lot of angelic support. And you're also being told to commit to your dreams. No more sort of airy-fairy. I was at the Golden Guitar Awards the other day, where the country music stars all get their awards. And one of the artists said that the year before they'd heard another artist say that they'd given up their day job and fully committed to their music. So they'd followed that guidance, and they themselves had then won an award. So it pays off, you know, that when you make a commitment to your dreams, if you don't commit to them this year, then this time next year, you're going to be feeling exactly the same way as you do right now. So it's important that you commit to something and start to move forward, so that then this time next year, you're going to see a massive difference in your life. And of course, it's going to be hard work, but your angels are going to help you, and it'll be joyful work if you love what you do. So that's all from me. I'll check and see. I can see lots of comments have come up, so I'll just check and see what other people have said. Thanks so much for being here. So Lisa says that was spot on, and Tracy says move her body. Lisa says move your energy. Yeah, you've got to trust what you think and feel while I'm doing this, because the angels work with you individually while I'm doing the reading. So I always say to people when they get a personal reading from me that they have to also listen to their intuition and watch their thoughts and ideas that come up, because the angels are working with them when they're listening to the reading. So yes, wonderful. I'm so glad you enjoyed it. Thanks so much for your comments. I appreciate it, because I know that you like what I'm doing and that you want more of it. So have a great week. Sending you lots of love and angel blessings, and see you next time. I'm going over onto my Rich Radiant Angel group page now. So if you're on there, I'll be doing a quick reading over there for my Rich Radiant Angels. See you next time.